Hey guys, how you going? Morten Åstad here from merry old Oslo, O-Town, Norway. This is the third time I try to make this video, and it shouldn't be so hard, but it is kind of hard because I'm trying to remember how I ended up with the record that I bought today. And it's probably me watching one of the channels that I am subscribing to. And I think I'll put a name down there because I got to recheck it. But I think he was the one who did a thread. And that thread didn't lead me to the person who originated the thread. I haven't seen that yet. But it led me to a person who was talking about a band from his home country that I had never heard about. And after I bought this record today, I was sitting at a square here in Oslo, thinking about that and remembering that I once found out what was the Antipodian, the opposite place on the planet Earth from Oslo in Norway. And it's deep into the ocean in the South Pacific, and it's, for all purposes, not really anywhere near land. But the nearest... I used to think that the nearest piece of land was one of the Chatham Islands, and I was correct. It's Waitangi on the Chatham Islands, which is an island group southeast of the southern tip of New Zealand. And New Zealand, of course, being where this record and this person was located. I was always been intrigued by New Zealand, and I always thought that Norway and New Zealand are opposites in various funny ways. We're both one of the very relatively few countries on Earth that starts, the name of the island starts with an N, and we're a long country. Norway's I think around nearly 2,200 kilometers long. Norway's not split in two like New Zealand, and although at the narrowest part, Norway is about 6 kilometers wide. Yeah, from the end of a fjord, which is near Narvik, the tomb of the German Kriegsmarine in 1940, to the Swedish border is about 6 kilometers. And we're not an island. We are attached to a couple of other countries like Sweden and Finland and that other one. But, for all intents and purposes, Scandinavia sometimes feels like it's a separated island from the rest. And I love New Zealand is one of my bucket lists. I would have loved to have gone there. I even bought once a book from an English woman about migrating to New Zealand. My top three all-time favorite musical artists is from there. Neil Finn, of course, from Split Enz and Crowded House, and Tim Finn, obviously. And there are other bands that I love from there. Well, I said Crowded House and obviously Split Enz, and you guys who've followed my channel for a while know I do a lot to get those Split Enz and the Crowded House things. And you had the Chills and the Datsuns, L7. What else? There was something else. Oh, bugger. I can't remember now. There was one other. So, how did it all start? Well, like I said, I saw my vinyl community friends do videos that were related to this book. And then this is a thread about the 1001 albums you must hear before you die book series. Now mine is from 2005. I just managed to find it. I wasn't sure if I'd thrown it out, to be honest. And I've used this for some things, mostly to fill in stuff that I already owned, and some 60s stuff that I was unaware of. I know I've bought because I used this, and even some jazz. But I mean, my book stops in 2005, and if I was going to do this thread, I'd probably end up putting in things that are younger than this, and then not being aware whether or not these records are in fact in this book. So I don't know if I'll do it. I'll see, maybe see what some of you other guys do out there. But I then wrote, you watch a thread about a certain theme, and then some suggestion comes up. Now, it didn't suggest the originator of this thread. It suggested someone called, I think his name is James. So James from Buttery Digs in New Zealand, and he was talking about a band that I had never heard about before. Probably shame on me. But the funny thing is, this was just less than a week after I finally grabbed from a seller online here in Norway this Pavement, Slanted and Enchanted, let's call it the proper studio album debut of Pavement, a band that I didn't know about until was it 2001 when I bought Stephen Malkmus' solo album debut. Later on, I've seen Pavement when they reformed for a tour at Øya Festival. So I had this music very sort of fresh in my mind, and I grabbed my CDs and listened to them and this and everything. And then James, all the way down there in New Zealand, he talks about a band, and he said that they were a precursor to bands like this, and I was intrigued. And he showed an EP album cover with caricatures of the band members drawn, and I loved that immediately. And the band that I went on Spotify and I listened to it, and I was immediately. But this is the exact kind of music that this ended up being, and I loved it. I loved it. I love that kind of music. Some people who sometimes find out about, know my general musical taste, are surprised that I like that type of music. I'm not. It's got pop sensibilities, but it's noisy and a little naughty and a little ramshackle, and I love all that. And what I heard on Spotify, I was so surprised. How could this band make this noise in 1980-81 that early, all the way down there in New Zealand? And did they have a time machine? So I wrote down some titles and couldn't find anything on several places I could order things. I went to my local second-hand record store here in Oslo. Sorry about that. Rock and Rolls. First guy I talked to hadn't heard of them, but he wrote them down and was very intrigued because he loved Pavement. Second guy, a couple of days later, he said, "No, we never have anything but them. Buy them." He, of course, had everything. And but I found out that Big Dipper, our one really true record vinyl store here in Oslo for new stuff, had one in stock. Now, I don't know if this is the correct place to start listening to this band, but I really wanted to go and get it, and they were closed Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday because of refurbishment. The whole building is being sort of rebuilt. And so today I finally got there, and I bought Modern Rock by The Clean. I can't wait to play this. Now this is, I guess this is a later album, about 12, 13 years into their career. Someone will shout, "That's the wrong record. That's not their worst. That's the worst record. That's not where you're supposed to begin with The Clean." I don't know. You have to start somewhere. So The Clean Modern Rock 30th anniversary reissue, remastered from original tapes, debut appearance on vinyl in the US, and artwork by Hamish Kilgore. So yeah, this was a long way of telling you guys that I am now the proud owner of a record by the New Zealand band The Clean. And this is the beginning of something beautiful. I bloody well hope so, because I'll talk this up long enough now. But yeah, for me, and for anyone who don't know the clean, if you love this, and from what I heard so far, you will love this. And I'm now going to stop talking. I'm going to thank James from Buttered Eggs for guiding me towards this record, and head on over to his channel if you're not already aware of him, and give him a subscription. Yeah, that was my story here from Oslo, Norway, the Antipodian place on Earth to a patch of sea southeast of New Zealand. Cheers, guys. Hope to see you soon in another video. Bye.